Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Andor Season 2, Episodes 4 through 6. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Shall you leave a like, comment below, and know your thoughts on Andor, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, to me, these 3 episodes here were much more like it. Now, with that being said, I did enjoy the first 3 episodes. I think we can all agree that, I was having a good time with those. We just had one really odd storyline that Andor was doing. And at the time, it just really felt like these first 3 episodes, we didn't really need to focus on Andor. We need to focus on everyone else. And then in this set, we were able to focus more on him. He went on another, mission, if you will, had to leave Bix behind, and she's continuing to deal with her trauma. And Jesus Christ, this poor girl, man. I am just so cheering for her, even though I do think she is a tragedy, because now I haven't watched Rogue One in quite some time, and I have already made the plan that once this show is over, I plan on pushing play on Rogue One. But if I remember correctly, Andor Cassian is very disgruntled by the time Rogue One started, and he is very much kind of like, I cannot remember his name, Lupin. He is a lot like Lupin when we get to Rogue One. And I think the only thing that could really break him into doing that, making him lose that humanity for a little bit before, he goes on his arc on Rogue One, is that he loses Bix. And I am just like, man, this girl has been tortured. This girl has been sexually assaulted. This girl is now a drug addict. Very understandably so. But damn, I am just really pulling for her to get, when we were capping it off, when we started with her having another traumatic episode, and then we get to the end where she does finally get that revenge on that mofo. I was so cheering for her, but it's also a good flip side to it too, because overall, I'm still not a fan of the 3 episode drops at a time. It's just a lot to consume within going into it. Now, I have now gone to the mindset starting last week, and I kind of did that to this here too, and I don't know if that helped with me able to enjoy it a lot more. But instead of thinking of it as 3 episodes, I kind of think of it as just one movie. I'm getting 4 3-hour epics as we go on this ride, with 2 breaks in between. It's what it is how I am going into it, because you really do need all 3 to really fully be satisfied when you get to the end. Episode 1, I was like, eh. Episode 2, I was like, okay, this is getting somewhere. And then by episode 3, I was completely locked in. This one, I was more locked in episode 4. I was actually really liking what we were doing here. And then episode 5, I was even more invested. And by episode 6, I was completely locked in. I mean, I was completely lost when I got to episode 6. I was like, wow, an hour already passed? It was very, very fast-paced to me when we got to that finale. And a lot of stuff was going on within there. But yeah, to cap it off with her starting off in episode 4 with that, and then episode 6, her getting her revenge, I was very much cheering for her, and I would imagine we get another time jump, because that was the other indicator. Another year has passed. Now, will we do another year later, and we show some other people being disgruntled? Is that kid who shot, I cannot remember her name, but man, when they kissed, I was like, oh no, please don't let me lose one of them. And we haven't even had a lot of moments with those 2, but the fact that it was so effective when that gun shot and you see the body, I literally went, no. I was very much invested within this relationship, even though there hasn't been given a lot of time. And other projects, whether it be a movie or a television show, and something big like that happens, I'm just like, man, if we could just have a little bit more time with these characters, it would have hit a much meatier gut punch. This show didn't necessarily need that. So part of me does appreciate it with me getting this blockade, with consuming it all at once, then it makes it much more satisfying. I also really like the character dynamics and how the couples are with all the 3 different storylines that we mainly focused on here. Mothra didn't have a whole lot to do here, but it's also really cool to see how the rebellion is starting to become more public. I need votes. The talks back and forth, how she doesn't give 2 hoots about who she is talking to. I mean, that whole scene at the art gallery was very, very intense, not just because of the back and forth between her and the, I don't remember what his name is, but their back and forth was really good. But also her, Lupin's right hand is over there trying to get this thing going, and the other spy is like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, just freaking listen to her. Just let her do her thing. She is locked in. Do as she says. And she is struggling with this one twist. You see her blood cushion coming out because she is so much invested. Oh, man, it was just a lot of good stuff. But yeah, Mothra didn't have a whole lot to do here. But the couple dynamics with Bix and Cassian, how they are in love. And you can see how much there is at risk with those two because they're not willing to do certain things because for each other. Then there is Lupin and his right hand, where, you know, is completely platonic, but they fight like a married couple, and they do care about each other because when they succeed in the mission, they are able to have a nice moment with each other. And then there's Deidre, and I cannot remember his name, who I do think is about to turn. I think he is starting as an Imperial spy on the rebellion, but he's going to buy into the rebellion, and maybe he becomes probably the most important character out of all of them. Because you know not everyone's going to make it within this show, because a lot of them are not in Rogue One. I honestly think it's just Cassian and Saw Gerrera who's in it, who also had a lot more to do in this. Well, he was not in the first 3 episodes at all, and he did a lot more here than he has done in all of season 1. It was nice seeing him and seeing how intense he was, how he's really cutthroat, and what he was doing. That was pretty cool to see. But, you know, Deidre and the other guy who broke up, which I was really sad about when I heard the mom go, you broke up with a girl who was willing to live a life with you, but then it turns out maybe she broke up with him, because part of me does think she still likes him and they weren't really broken up and this is all part of the plan, or maybe she's just using him. But I think she has more at play here, because, you know, when he wants to, you know, get it on, she's like, turn the lights off. I'm like, oh man, she doesn't want to look at you, dude. That's and you know, she just seems so disgusted by him in some ways. Like, he was like, if I told you this was the best day of my life, I'm like, that's a little sad. And she's like, it's just so nice to see you happy. I'm like, oh man, I really hope I've never made anyone feel like that. But that, where it just really feels like a need as a more to, I want your company here. I like those dynamics. But yeah, I liked everything that we did here. Again, back to episode 3 with that one group where everyone is heading to this planet. I cannot recall the planet's name. It seems like something big is going to happen there. Granted, look, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm not like a super diehard. I don't know about all the history. I don't know about all the lore. I just know this season leads into Rogue One. What everything that leads up to that, I do not know. But I do know this leads to Rogue One, and I would assume it's going to be a big battle at this planet, which is why when we get to this time jump and the kid who did shoot that girl, I think he's going to be much more disgruntled. He's going to be, you know, a lot of envy, a lot of, you know, sorrow. I think he's going to be a completely different guy when we get there. And he's probably going to be like trying to get the forgiveness of the girlfriend that, you know, he killed. Yeah, I'm just really, really enjoying the ride that we are going on here. Again, I do wish that we were able to split it up, just so that it is much more easier to consume. And again, just a longer ride. You know, we're only getting 4 weeks of this, and we have 12 episodes. Like I said, you need all 3 episodes to be completely satisfied within it. But I really do wish we could have gone week to week. Like, that was a weird episode. But at least we'd be more talking about it, and we could really build legs as we head into this. But, you know, it is what it is. It's still a very good time, nonetheless. It's some of the best television I've seen all year. Hell, some of the best Star Wars I've seen in a really long time. I do think it is topping season 1, regardless of the structure. But that's really the only complaint that it comes to this show, is the structure. And even that, you know, it's necessary to do what they do, because you do need all 3 episodes in order to be completely satisfied. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about it down in the comment section. Leave a like if you made it this far within a review. I do greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.